Hello and welcome to Claude's YouTube channel. Today we are again focusing on the staff college aspirants, and this time we're going to discuss about current affairs. And to discuss this, we have once again with us Brigadier R.K. Bhatia, who will be talking on seemingly, I always use this word, seemingly well-known, simple country in our neighborhood called Pakistan. But I would like to caution our aspirants of the staff college that Pakistan is, it may appear to be a simple subject, but it is very complex and it needs a greater study. I'll give you examples. Do we know the status of Gilgit-Baltistan? Do we know the legal status of POK? Do we know that? Do we know the boundary between India and Pakistan? What is it called? I don't think half of you would be knowing that the boundary between India and Pakistan is referred to as Radcliffe Line. So there are a number of issues related to Pakistan which we are normally not aware. And the center of gravity of all the problems of Pakistan emanate from the state of Jammu and Kashmir, which is now Union Territory, Jammu and Kashmir, as far as India is concerned. And we have another part of this, Ladakh, as a independent Union Territory of Ladakh, which is part of India. Now, if you look at this map is the genesis of all the problems, whether it is India or China. Of course, China has some issues with our eastern neighbors, as with our eastern borders also. But essentially, it's the Aksai Chin, it's the Sakgam Valley, it's the Gilgit-Baltistan, and it is POK, which are at the heart of everything that goes on between India and Pakistan and India and China, and hence the collusive threat also. So when we discuss Pakistan, you cannot divide yourself of discussing China also as part of it. So, without wasting any further time, let's go into the likely questions. We'll first give you a backgrounder, which Brigadier Bhatia will cover regarding Pakistan, and thereafter we will also tell you as to what are the likely questions which may come from Pakistan, and a brief way to answer these questions. So, with that, over to you, Bhatia. It's all yours.
Thank you, sir. Sir, as far as Pakistan is concerned, though a very brief history, I'm presuming that students who are preparing for DSSC entrance exam would be aware. It came into existence on 14th of August 1947. Now, this itself is actually debatable. How can a country come into existence before they're saying the British Parliament had ratified it? So, though right from the time it was born till date, there are so many contradictions in Pakistan. I would request the aspirants to actually divide the entire subject into number of sub-subjects, which I'm going to flash now, sir.
Okay.
First of all, let's talk about the current political and economic situation in Pakistan. Talking about the economic situation first, the whole problem with the country is that it has remained on grants from the Western country, just bargaining the good geopolitical location of the country so far. So they have not paid attention to developing their economy as was the case with India. Yes, the Red Cliff line which came into existence, that is also to be blamed because this line when it was drawn, the only consideration was religion and the economics of the area were not considered or taken into account. However, Pakistan economy has been in crisis since 2022, connected to the situation in Afghanistan and in this general area. Now the West was on not so much of need of Pakistan, so the grants which were coming stopped. In the meantime, to survive, Pakistan went in for numerous external borrowing. This led to weaker currency. If the currency gets weaker, your imports get expensive because the value of the currency drops down in the international market. This in turn led to balance of payments problem. Firstly, your currency is weaker, your imports are expensive, and your exports, whatsoever you have, become cheaper. In any case, Pakistani authorities never paid attention to improving the infrastructure and human capital. Surprisingly, the inflation rate last that we checked in Pakistan is touching roughly 36%. Now, 36%, yeah, in India, moment the inflation rate goes into double figure, the economy goes for a tumble. But here in Pakistan, it is touching 36%. So naturally, there'll be a resentment among the population of Pakistan. According to the latest World Bank report, GDP of the country has declined by 0.6% in 2023, which had grown to 6.1 in 22 and 5.8% in 2021. The unemployment rate is 8.5%, but it's learned that actual unemployment rate is much higher. So
Yes.
approximately 9.1 million people are driven to below poverty line every year. Now, the IMF has put certain conditions. They said that you cannot give subsidies. The petrol rate has to be at particular level. The fertilizers, everything IMF is dictating. So this is further increasing the resentment. Now, IMF will not give you fresh loan till such time you meet their conditions. So they have, in a sort of, got into a web, and every action that Pakistan takes, it has a cascading effect on other factors.
Brigadier Bhatia, I would just like to highlight to our aspirants the impact of IMF on Pakistan.
Yes.
Today, an IMF team is visiting Pakistan, and the Pakistan Stock Exchange has crashed just in anticipation that the IMF is likely to now put more sanctions or more conditions for its economy to pay back whatever loans they are giving. Yeah, carry on.
Yes. Similarly, the political situation is also in mess. This unrest which is going on in Pakistan started in April 22 when the former Prime Minister Imran Khan was removed by a no confidence vote. Now, this was also engineered. So, 2024, though they had parliamentary elections, but PTI's symbol was taken away. So, the party could not fight elections. So it backed a lot of independents. Now, despite independents winning, the coalition government led by PML Nawaz, they formed the government. The sole aim was to keep Imran out of equation for simple reason because Imran had started challenging authority of army in governance. There is total lack of transparency, large scale corruption exists, and there are restrictions on civil society organizations. Now, this is the biggest indicator. These three are the biggest indicators to suggest the internal security situation in a particular country. Moreover, the four provinces that are there in Pakistan, they do not have anything in common. Every province has its own aspirations. In the past, also, if we see, the present Punjab of Pakistan was dependent on the eastern Punjab, which is on our side. So they had nothing much to do with Khyber Pakhtunkhwa or Baluchistan or Sindh. Similarly, Sindh was associated with present or that day Bombay state. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa was more with Afghanistan, and Balochistan, in being on the sea coast and a limited population, was more close to Iran and in north to Afghanistan. So interplay between the provinces is also not there, and even today there is nothing common other than the religion, which is holding Pakistan together. So the only organization which could actually hold Pakistan together was military. And now a situation has come where there is a rift that has developed between the civilian government and the military government. Though we say the quote, power flows through the barrel of the gun, is attributed to Mao, but its actual practice is being done in Pakistan, where army is actually dictating everything, and it is de facto arbiter of politics of the country. Rise and fall of Imran Khan is a classic case. At one time, there were memes and cartoons coming where Imran Khan was sitting in the lap of army, and then same Imran Khan was booted out of power
I'll
because
just
of
like to I'll just like to highlight the army's role. You see, nowadays Munir is about to finish his tenure, and he is now working on getting an extension for another 2 to 3 years. So you can imagine now this has become a routine as far as Pakistan is concerned, for their military to interfere into political and economic sphere. So civil military relations are at its nadir, if I were to just put it in simple words, as far as Pakistan is concerned, and that is very important issue which you must factor in all your responses. Okay.
correct. The, Munir would be the third chief, sir, in back to back, starting from Kayani to Bajwa
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
Munir, sir, who's gone in for
Absolutely.
extensions.
Absolutely. So there is a trend now which you are seeing,
Yes,
and this trend is only going to harm Pakistan.
absolutely. Another problem which is plaguing Pakistan is rise of terrorism in Pakistan. There's
Yes.
been unprecedented spike in terrorism related violence in 2023. Record 6-year high wherein at least 1,524 violence related casualties and 1,463 injuries from 789 terror attacks has taken place. This is an alarming surge of 56%, an unprecedented escalation in last 10 years. Now, why these figures are important? Students are expected to know these figures, and moment you quote this in your answer while checking, the examiner has gone through these figures in the answer sheets of others also. So it's a competitive exam. If one student has given facts and figures and you do not put it in your answer, you are likely to lose. That is why it is very important to remember few figures and insert in at appropriate place while you are answering to this. Coming back to the subject, what are the major contributors why this violence has escalated by 56% in last 1 year? The most important thing was end of ceasefire with Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. In 2022, there was an attempt made to do a peace deal with TTP. However, TTP decided to violate the ceasefire and called off the ceasefire and started attacking. The worrying trend is that the Pakistani security forces are increasingly being attacked by the TTP. This shows few things. The most important being that fear of security forces and army amongst the masses and also the confidence is going to go down. If you see social media in Pakistan, people have already started questioning the operational efficiency of Pakistan army. They're saying that if organization like TTP is frequently attacking security forces and causing major casualties, how is Pak army going to face a much tougher challenge across the eastern border? They are referring to India. Moreover, ISI, which is supposedly, as per the Pakistanis, the best intelligence in the world, is unable to provide early warning to this security establishment to protect against the likely attack. So it is a failure of their intelligence as well as the security forces, which is slowly getting into the minds of local person. Once a respect of a bully is gone, there is a possibility that there may be a rising tomorrow against the arm. Now there are also reports that USA and Pakistan are trying to reach an agreement wherein US will be allowed once again to use Pakistani airspace to conduct military and intelligence operations in Afghanistan. Now, this
That
is
is
a very serious problem
correct.
because eventually this will be exploited by TTP because they consider the Pashtuns which are across the Durandine as their own kith and kin.
Correct.
So this is going to lead to unstable political situation and rise in terrorism further.
On terrorism issue, I would like to just highlight to the people, besides what Brigadier Bhatia has said, there is a internal movement of comparison of what is happening on Indian side and what is happening within Pakistan. I'll quote some figures, please note them down. 2018 in India we had 228 incidents in the entire year. By 2023 they have reduced to 43 terror incidents, right? uh, Encounters in 18 were 189, and by 2023 48 only. Similarly, civilians killed 55 total in 2018, and 2023 just 13. Come to SF security forces, 91 in 2018 and just 25 in the in 2023. Now compare this with Pakistan. In the first quarter of Pakistan, that is from January to April 24, they have already had 245 attacks. Imagine their killed figure is first quarter 432. Just first quarter. Imagine when total to the entire year, what will be the condition? Then 370 people have 370 encounters. 92% of the 372 people killed were security forces, and in that over 70% Faujis. So this is
Apologies.
what Brigadier Bhatia is trying to highlight, that the Pakistan army is taking a beating, their credibility is going down, their operational efficiency is being questioned, operational effectiveness is being questioned, which is a major cause of people losing trust with Pakistan army. Yeah, over to you.
Sir, going ahead, let's talk about Baluchistan. Now, we're still continuing with rise in terrorism. Baluchistan has played a major role in this increase of terrorism in whole of country. Now, when we talk about Baluch problem, this is not restricted to the Baluchistan province of Pakistan. Baloch also consider Sistan in Iran as part of Baluch, and southern Afghanistan also there are Baluch. So the Baluch problem, when we're talking about Baluchistan, Greater Baluchistan includes territory in Iran as well as in Afghanistan. Now, this insurgency in Baluchistan was a guerrilla war, which was waged by the Baluch nationalists against the governments of Pakistan and Iran. Now, like I had mentioned, it covers Baluchistan province in southwestern Pakistan and Sistan province in southeastern Iran and Baluchistan region of southern Afghanistan. Now, this area is rich in natural resources like natural gas, oil, coal, sulfur, fluoride, gold. In fact, the entire Pakistan and especially Punjab is being fed by a gas called Sui gas. Sui is a location in Balochistan. The entire Pakistan is being fed natural gas through pipes to Punjab, but the same facility is being denied to the Balochis. So the armed groups owing allegiance to Balochistan are demanding greater control of the province's natural resources and also political autonomy. Now, similar thing is happening in Gilgit-Baltistan and presently in the Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, where all the natural resources are being, taken away, mined and taken away. In that case, is the water and the electricity generation. Imagine in POJK and Gilgit-Baltistan, the WAPDA, the organization which is producing the electricity there, is cost price is 2 rupees per unit and they are selling it varying from 18 to 58 rupees per unit and making profit, and the people of this area have they do not get any royalty or any subsidy as far as these items are concerned. So insurgency of Baluch is not new. They have been fighting since 1948. Then there was another period, 58 to 59, 62 to 63, and then from 73 to 77. But the present and ongoing is much stronger and widespread insurgency compared to the previous occasions.
That's right. And
So,
here,
what are the drivers of this?
so here I would like to, since you are at the topic of Gilgit-Baltistan and Baluchistan, I would like to highlight to our viewers that 69, the so-called CPEC, 69 billion has been committed by
Yes.
by China. They're seeing a failure. So what are they doing? They're extracting whatever best they can in terms of resources, both from Baluchistan and Gilgit-Baltistan. They have 15 projects which are still on, and in these 15 projects, 8 are of coal mines extraction. Imagine, coal is being extracted and taken by China. 8 are wind energy projects, which bulk of the electricity they are taking. Four
They're
hydel
putting
projects,
is
four hydel projects, bulk of it they are taking. As a result, there has been widespread unrest in Pak-occupied Kashmir and also in Gilgit-Baltistan, and therefore one transmission line project, power transmission line project, that is also ongoing. The Prime Minister of POK, Chaudhry Anwarul Haq, has demanded that Chinese do not use their labor and use the labor of POK
yes.
to ensure some
They bring
employment.
in their own labors.
Yeah. So these are facts and figures which you must know why Pakistan is facing all these problems. Bad planning, bad national interest projects, and that is what they are reaping now. Okay.
And
Yeah.
and so partially the interesting thing is that by bringing in their own labor, by bringing in their own raw material, they are taking part of the construction back to into their own economies,
Yeah. They have no option.
because the labor, whatever he's earning, he's. Sir, can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me, sir?
I, I can hear you.
Okay.
I go ahead.
I said they are pushing their economy up. Uh,
Absolutely.
the cement and the steel that they are producing is in their factories. They are bringing in all the raw material from there, and the money has to be paid by the host country.
Yeah.
So it
Absolutely.
is, good for both ways, sir. One is they're giving loan, and more than half of it they're taking it back, and the entire money is to be paid by the host country. So this is
Yeah.
how they're putting the countries into debt traps.
Correct.
Sir, going ahead, what are the major drivers of insurgency? Is the economic equality. We're talking about Baluchistan, economic inequality and neglect of Baluchistan province. We have touched upon it. There is a tremendous amount of regional inequality. The amount of projects, even in CPEC, if we see, actually not major investment should have gone to Punjab. But the alignment of the CPEC has been changed, and the projects have been made in such a way that Punjab gets the major chunk of it.
That's right.
Gawadar, because the reason you have highlighted, because there was no employment due to the projects, the living standard of Baluch in the area continued to be the way it was. So they have not benefited from Gawadar. Because of these projects, there is multiculturalism and immigration that has taken place in Balochistan, and there are demographic imbalances which the Baluchis are fearing. Education issues, most of the places, education is in mess as far as Pakistan is concerned. And Baluchis have decided to go in for a military response to the Pak army. And the recent successes of the Baluch Liberation Army and the Baluch Liberation Force Now, the worrying factor for Pakistan is the TTP has joined hands with BLA and BLF, and they have become a much more potent force. As of now, they've started attacking the border areas of Punjab and Baluchistan, Punjab and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Time is not far when they start striking deep inside Punjab. And the majority of Pak army being from Punjab area, now this will further hurt the Pak army. And like I said, one factor is leading to another factor. This will further brew the discontentment is going to increase. Now look at the situation. There is political uncertainty, there is economic uncertainty, and now there is a security uncertainty which is going to creep in. The garrison state that the Pakistan has been made into, the garrison, the holders of this garrison, if they are going to break, the Pakistan vulnerability to the terrorism, to the external threats is going to increase many folds. So now what are the regional implications of this? Now escalation of Baluch conflict could potentially lead to balkanization of Pakistan. Now it's another debate whether Pakistan should actually break or continue to remain the way it is. But this for the students to have a opinion on this. Also, there is material available on the internet to go through it. Now, conflict could also destabilize the uneasy Indo-Pakistan peace. The reason being because Pakistan suspects that India is, using Baloch insurgents as their proxies. In fact, they even blame India to instigate the TTP to operate against the Pakistan security forces. So the uneasy relationship is further going to get tested. That is uneasy Indo-Pakistan relationships. Now, other important issues which the aspirant should pay attention to is Pakistan and FATF grey list, Pakistan role in rise of Taliban in particular, what are the challenges for Pakistan, and G20 meeting in J&K, how it has affected the Pakistani, a common man, the government, the bureaucrats, and the army. All this, sir, the notes that you had forwarded to me have been, these all aspects have been beautifully covered, including one question which I have answered on Gilgit-Baltistan as well as on Baluch insurgency. The Gilgit-Baltistan we're going to cover now.
Okay.
So I will request the aspirants to go in for the notes. At the end of the presentation, I have given the contact details. Now, one question, sir, with your permission, we'll tackle, sir. That is
Yes, sir.
Gilgit-Baltistan, the fifth province of Pakistan.
Yeah.
What are its implications?
Great.
Now, this is the map which General Dushyant had shown in the beginning. Now, this entire state, as of now, we are talking about Jammu Kashmir, Ladakh, Akshay Chin, Gilgit-Baltistan, Pakistan occupied Kashmir. This was at one time was entire state of Jammu and Kashmir, which was further divided into various parts. Gilgit-Baltistan and Pakistan occupied Kashmirs are very much part of the same Kashmir. They are not different regions. But what Pakistan has done is, as of now, there is no, these two, or one for that matter, province was not part of the overall. There were only 4 provinces in Pakistan, and these two were not part of it. There was a special minister in the Council of Ministry which was looking after the affairs in Gilgit-Baltistan and POJK. However, it remains a disputed territory and it is very much part of India. Now, recently there was an attempt to make it as the 5th province of the country. For the information of aspirants, Pakistan has 4 provinces, namely Baluchistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Punjab, and Sindh. There was representation from the provinces, that is Gilgit-Baltistan that all constitutional bodies, including National Assembly and Senate, there should be representation from this area. However, this had gone to court. I will just cover that in few after few slides. Let's not forget that the important China-Pakistan economic corridor exists because Gilgit-Baltistan and POJK is part of present Pakistan. Though legally Pakistan has no right to permit China to construct, this is against the UN resolution also. Other development, China in Pakistan occupied Kashmir under the China-Pakistan economic corridor is Daimar Basha Dam, Kola Hydropower Project, and Azad Patan Hydropower Project. All the details are covered in the notes. The details about all these projects and what is their
Yeah,
implications of CPEC, we'll see it in the questions also.
they can come as
The
a short
chronology,
note.
yes, sir.
They can come as a short note, so you should be aware of
Yes.
these projects, etc.
Okay. The chronology of Gilgit-Baltistan has been beautifully given. 1999 Supreme Court rule that people of Gilgit-Baltistani are Pakistani citizens and they should be directed and directed the federal government to start administration and legislative measures. 2009 Gilgit-Baltistan Empowerment and Self-Governance Notice was issued, and this area, which was initially called FANA, Federally Administered Northern Area, was renamed as Gilgit-Baltistan. Now, by
Please,
doing this,
no,
what they have done is that
uh,
Gilgit-Baltistan has,
Rakesh, I would like also the aspirants to know that there was something similar on the west called FATA, and this was FANA. Whereas FATA, they have merged it and made it into
correct,
KPK, now Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. They have tried the same thing in the area of Gilgit-Baltistan, which is northern area in common terms which you used to use.
yes,
If you refer to your old maps, they were shown as
correct,
northern areas. Okay.
northern areas, that's right. Now, what have another important thing that has happened here is they have diverted the general mind that Gilgit-Baltistan is not part of Kashmir. We should not forget that Gilgit-Baltistan is very much part of Kashmir and it is equally disputed as Pakistan occupied J&K. In 2018, a new order was introduced which transferred all power of Gilgit-Baltistan Council to its assembly. So these were the legal way they had done. Now let's look at what is India's stand on this. India says that neither Pakistan nor its judiciary has any locus standi on the territory which was forcibly occupied by it. This is the official MEA statement. India rejects actions which attempt to make changes in Pakistan occupied Kashmir. We should actually, sir, I feel we should continue to call it Pakistan occupied Kashmir and not refer to it as Gilgit-Baltistan.
Absolutely, absolutely. They are trying to
So,
dehyphenate. They are trying to
yes,
dehyphenate, and that should be opposed.
something similar to what China has done in Tibet. No, we
Yes,
have almost forgotten about Outer Tibet. We are just talking about Tibet Autonomous Region, which is a part
which
of
is
the overall Tibet which they have occupied.
absolutely, absolutely.
And India also said that Pakistan should immediately vacate all areas under its illegal occupation. This is also one of the UN resolutions. Now, what are Chinese interests? As I said, there is no CPEC if Gilgit-Baltistan does not exist and does not share borders with China, which actually it does not. Why China wants it? Because it wants to overcome the Malacca dilemma and also wants to ensure protection of investment in the disputed region by delinking Gilgit-Baltistan from Kashmir dispute. Now, once India declared removal of 370 and dividing Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh into two territories, China has got worried. That's why they want to delink Gilgit-Baltistan from Kashmir issue. But we have to be vigilant and make sure that in our narratives or nowhere we say that Gilgit-Baltistan is different than POK. Now, what are the challenges? There are UN resolutions on 1948 and 49, which very clearly states that until a final solution is reached, this entire region or territory has to be evacuated by the Pakistani troop and administered by local authorities under the supervision of UN Commission. So what Pakistan has done is violated the UN resolution. So the move by Pakistan to make Gilgit-Baltistan its fifth province will also violate the 1963 Pakistan-China boundary agreement, where the Sakshgam Valley was handed over to China, which wants to reopen negotiations once the Kashmir dispute is resolved between Pakistan and India. And also the 1972 Shimla Agreement, which said that no side would alter the situation unilaterally. So it is, and also Shimla Agreement overrules to some extent the UN resolution also, saying that it is now all the disputes will be handled bilaterally. Whereas Pakistan continues to quote UN resolutions because Pakistan has not followed the very first condition of UN resolution of vacating this area. The UN resolutions of 48 no longer, they are not applicable to Pakistan occupied Kashmir. So these are the questions which are covered in detail in the notes prepared by Claus. The first question I have handled. The second question is Pakistan has always been a broader policy objective of the USA since 50s. US economic and security aid provided to Pakistan has been particularly significant. I briefly touched upon it that how Pakistan sat into the lap of the US and the West moment it was created. In fact, Pakistan was created to meet the geopolitical aspiration of the US in 1947. And so they became the only Asian country to join CENTO and CETO at that time, which were led by Pakistan. And in return, they got a lot of aid, with which they bought weapons, they organized their army well. So all these details you can refer to your notes if in case you decide to procure from clause. Economic crisis I have touched upon, and does it throw up opportunities to improve bilateral relation? Students can remember my statement that the Red Cliff line was solely based on religious differences and it did not take into account the how the economy of the region worked prior to 1947. The effect of this is still being felt by Pakistan. However, India has overcome many of its problems and reoriented itself to what is now part of the country. So, but Pakistan has a lot to do in this regard. Despite suffering from terrorism itself, Pakistan continues extending state support to terrorism in India in general and state of J&K in particular. What should be appropriate India's response? Beautifully covered, very well argued notes. I will strongly recommend in case we dwell into it. We have already crossing the time which we had set for ourselves. So I will not touch upon this in a major thing. What are major outstanding issues between India and Pakistan? Cover each in brief. A very basic question. You can either get a 30 marks question, but most probably it could be just listing these uh, outstanding issues. China has made major inroads in Pakistan through CPEC. We spoke about it. How does this affect Indian security situation? See, CPEC collusivity between Pakistan and China economically is one thing, and militarily is also another very important thing which we have to consider. Increasing exercises of the Pak army and the PLA is also a cause of worry. Equally, the proximity of CPEC from our borders, we can also cause serious damage to the CPEC. So this also students should know equally well that what are the security implications on us and how we also have an opportunity to cause serious damage to interest of both Pakistan and China. Sichuan Glacier dispute, what are the silent features? And trusted friendship and collusivity between China and Pakistan, especially against India. What are Indian options to checkmate this?
This
These
could
are all
be
very important, sir.
the last one could be a major question of about say
Yes,
50
I was
marks.
about to say that.
So that you should be careful. And one more point which I want all of you to take note of is, in any economic questions, just get to know the three or four major statistical data. That will help you in analyzing, even if it is a thinker
Yeah,
question. It will help you in analyzing if it is something to do with what is likely to happen in the future. For example, you must know the total debt which Pakistan is having. You must know how much of loans it requires now to just service the debts which are required to be taken. Just for your information, $125 billion in the next 5 years is what Pakistan has to generate, for which it needs every year 20 to 25 billion dollars as some kind of loan donation from wherever they can manage. And imagine their leaders, both civilian military, have parked $11 billion worth of property in Dubai without even considering as to what their country is going through. So therefore, these big figures of economics must be remembered by you. CPEC, how much has been committed?
yeah.
Uh, Gwadar port, what is the frequency of ships which are coming at Gwadar? It is turning out to be a losing proposition. There are only 20 to 25 ships which come in the entire year. So Gwadar port, the entire investment has gone to dogs. It's
That
gone to zero.
that is why the
So these,
Singaporean company which was managing ran away, sir, and it has left
yes,
for the
so
Chinese to.
absolutely. So these bulk figures, if you know these statistics, it will boost your questions answer, and
Yes.
it will give you that competitive edge, because of, after all, it is a competitive exam. So if you have to come in the merit, you got to be in the first two to 225. Yeah,
So now we quickly cover the Indus Water Treaty. Now, these are three questions which one can expect. In fact, if you prepare these three questions on Indus Water Treaty, I think any type of question can be handled because this covers
absolutely,
everything about Indus Water Treaty. Quickly,
absolutely.
sir, what are the provisions of Indus Water Treaty? That all eastern rivers, that is Satluj, Beas, and Ravi, they were awarded, the water of this area was awarded to India, and all the western rivers, that is Jhelum, Chenab, and Indus, were to go to Pakistan.
Yeah,
However, the water from western rivers, India can use for irrigation and electricity.
that's right.
But unfortunately, so far we've not done that also, sir. And now we are in the process of doing it.
That's right.
Indus Water Treaty has held it, and I'm going to make one statement. It is because it is to the advantage of Pakistan. The Pakistan doesn't want to disturb this Indus Water Treaty. 80% of water of these five rivers is going to Pakistan. 135 million acre foot, the unit that is used to measure large scale water, goes to Pakistan versus 33 MAF to India, which is 80% of the entire water. Question can be that can India stop water flow to Pakistan after Pakistan's objections? Is it possible? The notes clearly give it. Tulbul project by India is a navigation lock-cum control structure at the mouth of, as Pakistanis call it, Vular Lake project, which is near Bandipur. It's on Jhelum River. This is actually resuscitating Jhelum River, and in the bargaining, getting 20 kilometer of year-round navigation from Anantnag to Srinagar and Baramulla, because this is how the flow of Jhelum River is. India started constructing 439 feet long barrage at the lake's mouth. And India unilaterally suspended the Tulbul project in 87 after Pakistan objected. However, the decision was reviewed and the government intended to revive it irrespective of Pakistan's protest. Now, India will have control over some degree of Jhelum water. Pakistan, the project can create problems for Pakistan Triple Canal project because Jhelum Chenab and Upper Bari Doab Canal. Now, these two canals have defensive potential for Pakistan. So, if this project is going to go through, the water level in these defensive canals is going to reduce or is going to finish. This will have serious implication in the type of equipment that our forces are having for carrying out offensive. So World Bank has been approached to arbitrate between the two countries. So for Tulpul project, these are the highlights. Now, India receives permission to construct Kishanganga Ratle hydroelectric power. On 2nd of August 2017, under the Indus Water Treaty, the World Bank gave permission to India to construct a hydroelectrical power facilities on tributaries of the Jhelum and Chenab rivers with certain restrictions. Now, hydropower project, when though it is run-of-the-mill project, you create electricity and thereafter the water goes, but the flow changes. So the entire Kishanganga Valley or Neelam Valley as it is called in Pakistan is going to be affected because of this project as per the Pakistanis' objection. So this in turn, now what has happened is there was a race to construct projects between India and Pakistan. Because as per the treaty, whosoever has the existing project gets right over the other country. But I think we winning the race, and though Pakistan's that latest project of joining two rivers short of Muzaffarabad, I'm forgetting. So that was also in doldrums. So India won the race, constructed the dam project and inaugurated it on 19th of May 2018. And it's a 1,000 megawatt project which is in near Dulhasti in Kishtwar. Sir, with this, I think I have covered broadly about the contours of India-Pakistan relationship, and this is the contact details which are flashed on the screen. You can email for procurement of notes, and Brigadier Ahuja will be able to give you the details as per availability. As of now, notes on military history, current affairs, and science and miltech are available with clause. I would also
Uh,
request, sir,
yeah, go ahead.
I would also request the viewers to please subscribe to these two channels, that is Center for Land Warfare Studies and BRIC Speak, because frequently we do cover a lot of subjects on these two channels. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Brigadier Bhatia. I think that was very well covered. There are some information gaps. There are some issues which we could not cover because of lack of time, and also the fact that we wanted to give you the flavor of how we are approaching each and every question, so that when you read it, it's easy for you to assimilate it based on the backgrounder which we have given to you. Now, there is a very interesting question, and this is a question which I thought we should have covered it in our discourse also. And thanks for that, Anujveer Singh. I think you've raised a issue of sir, request if you can comment upon how Pakistan can take advantage of abrogation of Article 370 by India to change the legal status of Gilgit-Baltistan. You can give your comments if and after that I will elaborate on it, because this is a very important factor in
Yes,
it question, and it might come as a short note. So
absolutely.
so so be careful for even aspirants, and
Uh,
thanks to Anuj.
Anuj, even I would like to appreciate the very, very interesting question that you have asked. See, one big difference between India and Pakistan as far as status of Kashmir is concerned is that we have an instrument of accession, which is a legal document, which is with us. The Maharaja of Kashmir had signed an instrument of accession. And this instrument of accession was exactly the same for balance 365 states. So legally we are covered. Second issue is that Article 370 was an internal arrangement of India. Pakistan has no leeway on it. It cannot dictate that what article we have to put in our own land or when do we abrogate that. Pakistan cannot have any say in this aspect. Third thing is that Pakistan was definitely the attacker in 1948 and tried to grab this land through force. That is why UN resolution says that any decision in this area will be taken only if the attacker, that is Pakistan army, they may say it was tribal rising or whatever it may be, but it was basically supported by that time Colonel Akbar Khan, later Major General Akbar Khan. He was leading the assault, and UN resolution says that Pakistan is supposed to withdraw all its army and armed personnel from this area before any other step can be taken. The three issues that I took, in addition, I spoke about 48, 49, 49 UN resolution, 1963 with China, and 1972 with Shimla. Under all three restrictions, China is not, correction, Pakistan is legally cannot change the status of Gilgit-Baltistan. Sir, over to you, sir.
I think Brigadier Bhatia has beautifully covered, Anuj, response to your query. Uh, Essentially, in simple words, in three lines, if it is a short note which you have to write, you have to first say that A, the rule or the law applied for Kashmir was Jammu and Kashmir was same as for the other princely states in the region at the time of partition between of British India between India and Pakistan. So therefore, we have applied the same law. We did not go into Kashmir till the time Maharaja signed the accession, right? So legal aspect is taken care of by that. So moment he signed it, it is our territory. Moment it is our territory, we can treat it like Goa, we can treat it like Hyderabad, the disputed other disputed areas which had refused initially to join our country. So therefore, uh, legally we are covered. So legally we can do whatever we want to do. Second, the provision of Article 370, which Brigadier Bhatia has said, beside the point which he mentioned, that it was our own internal restriction which we had put on ourselves. It was a temporary restriction. Please mind
Yes.
the word temporary restriction. The Supreme Court has given adequate deliberation on this particular issue, despite the various debates which went around in the Supreme Court. Ultimately, Supreme Court has given the decision in our favor. The only restriction which it applied was that elections must be completed before September. So therefore, which is the right for any state of or union territory of India to conduct elections because we are a democracy. So these were the two major aspects. Also, if you find in the UN resolution, the onus for withdrawal is with Pakistan, not with India. I mean, most people miss out, and Brigadier Bhatia had flashed that point that Pakistan will vacate the area is occupied. So therefore, till the time they don't vacate, they are the intruders, they are the violators. So we have to force our viewpoint very strongly, which we keep doing at various international forums. But yes, international diplomacy is always a game where opinions are mobilized based on your linkages of various factors, linkage of linkage of language, so many other things are factors geopolitical interests, national interest of two countries, if they are converging, definitely they will try to support. So those are issues which are day-to-day battles, but legally we can be rest assured that we are right in doing what we have done. And even the current action which we have taken, the government of India has highlighted that this is a temporary provision to get over the situation in JNK, which was quite serious a few years back. And now, as I quoted the figures to you, see the kind of drop in terrorism and the rise in investment. I will just like to
Correct.
highlight to you 60 million worth a mall is being prepared by AMR, the company which constructed Burj Khalifa. The
Yes.
FDI in India in 2019 in JNK was 296 crores. In 2023 till October, guess how much was it? 2079, almost a 10 time increase. That is the impact which we have generated. So with that, thank you very much, Brigadier Bhatia, and thanks to all our would-be listeners and the current listeners who are there. Please spread this amongst the people who are going to appear for the staff college, and I'm sure it will benefit all of you. Contact us for notes if you want it; they are available to you. These are additional notes. Whatever you have taken from other agencies, the more they are also equally good. But if you are interested in a little bit of diversification, little bit of additional
Especially in
information,
current affairs. Especially in current affairs.
especially in current affairs, by all means, subscribes to us. We will offer it to you at a very very minimal rates, and the rates being charged are only for the printing cost. We are not making any profit out of it. It's just simply that we have to make these prints and make the booklets and then have it served to you. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Brigadier Bhatia.
Thank you, sir. Jai Hind, sir.